Hey guys, it's been a while since I've shared a library haul on here. I love sharing library hauls because my library system is amazing. I say this every time that I do a library haul. We can easily request books from our entire province. They come to our library for free. We can have 100 books on hold. We can have 100 books out. There are no fees until you've kept a book for over a month past its due date. It's amazing. Plus, on top of that, our library keeps a tally of the value of the books that you've taken out each year. So I can tell you how much money worth of books we've taken out so far this year. And this does not include, oh funny, I log into my library account or into my email and I get an email from my library saying I have books ready. So I'm in a bit of a putting hold on books spree. I think for the next little while, this might almost be a monthly feature here. So what was I saying? I lost my train of thought there, what I was talking about. I'll tell you that so far this year, we have checked out $8,231 worth of books. Oh yes, what I was going to say is this does not include audiobooks. My kids, this is my library card. My kids have their own library cards for audiobooks. So if we were to include those, it would be a lot more. My library holds often have a bit of a theme, like all of a sudden I'm requesting all the books on this topic and then I'm requesting all the books on this topic, but sometimes it does take a while for them to come in. But today's theme, I would say mostly is nature books-ish. I have one novel, a couple of graphic novels, some picture books, and then like some nature-ish books. So let's start with the one novel. I got Maybe by Carolyn Starr Rose out for my soon-to-be 8th grader. I just shared a video of all the books that I would like her to read in her 8th grade year. That went up 2 weeks ago. Actually, at the point of filming this, it went up a week ago, and she's now read 5 of the books off that list. Suddenly she felt very motivated, and 2 of them are on her top 4 books of all time list. So I think I did pretty good. Maybe is a free verse novel, and it's very like Little House on the Prairie-esque, just a little bit grittier as far as like our main character May is. She's dyslexic, and I'm pretty sure it's been so many years since I read this, and she goes and works for a family to care for their kids and gets stranded there. It's pretty heavy, but like it's done really well. I enjoyed it. Unfortunately, my daughter did not give this one 5 stars, but that's okay. She often doesn't with free verse novels, so I'll try not to take it personally. Then, as he likes to do, my son went and got like most of the Dogman books. We got Dogman, A Tale of Two Kitties, Cat Kid, Brawl of the Wild, 20,000 Fleas Under the Sea, For Whom the Ball Rolls, and Unleashed. And if you have a young boy in your life, you probably know about Dogman. They're just graphic novels about, I think it's like a police officer that somehow became, like, he's part dog, part human. Honestly, it's not my kind of thing, but we've had so many discussions on the titles of, most of these are ripoffs of classic novels. So we've got A Tale of Two Kitties instead of A Tale of Two Cities, and it's helping my son know some of the names of classic books because of this, so I'll take it. And then the 4-year-old kind of was liking looking over his shoulder at the Dogman books, but he is a cat kind of guy, and so he got some Cat Kid books out. We got Cat Kid Comic Club and Cat Kid Comic Club collaborations, and these are actually pretty good. If you want your kids to try to write a comic or graphic novel kind of thing, this is about a club where these tadpoles, I think they are, write comics, and they start by trying to write something really bad because they're all scared to write something and fail, and so they are supposed to write something with the intention of failing. And I feel like it's a bit motivating maybe for kids to try writing their own graphic novels or comics as a result. So this is pretty cool. I don't generally read these kinds of books, but I read all the way up to page 80 something with the 4-year-old, so that's almost halfway through the book. I really like Usborne books. Often there's a lot of Usborne books in my library hauls. This one is What is the Moon? These are Lift the Flap questions and answers, and my thought was to bring this one along with us to church because we don't have any kind of nursery in the summer, and the 2-year-old is not the greatest at sitting, so I thought she could just take a look at this during church. So that's going to be going in my bag for this Sunday. And then I'm a sucker for a good rhyming storybook, and I think Little Blue Truck does it pretty well. It's not like my absolute favorite, hence why we don't own a copy, but it is pretty good. It's all the story about a friendship and how being kind is really helpful. We've read this one numerous times. And then kind of in that same vein, I also got Sheep in a Jeep, which is another kind of funny book. And it rhymes. It's not as good as Little Blue Truck in my opinion. Then some fun ones. I had to get some Robert Munsch because I love Robert Munsch. This one is I Have to Go. And if you live somewhere cold, you might appreciate this because this is all about Andrew, who has to, every time his parents ask him if he has to go pee, he says no. And then, like, you know, you get him bundled up in 5 zippers, 10 buckles, 17 snaps. Took a half an hour to get the snowsuit on, get outside, and you have to go pee. That feels very realistic. I love Robert Munsch. The kids love, you know, being able to see along with the pages. Like, Andrew, do you have to go pee is always capitalized so they can see that. And then they like to like point to each no and say no. So these are fun. Then we've been in a bit of a Mo Willems kick. If you like book recommendations or hearing what we're reading, you can sign up for my newsletter every other week in the summer right now. I'm sending out a newsletter and I always share what we're reading. Usually it's every week during the school year. And my 4-year-old has been really into Elephant and Piggy. So we got Should I Share My Ice Cream? And I mean, Elephant Piggy is fun. It's really good for about that 4-year-old stage because it's one of those books that's pretty easy for them to turn the pages and try to tell the story from what they remember because there's not a lot of pages, and this one's a fun story about Gerald deciding to share his ice cream cone. And then also for my 4-year-old, I got The Pigeon Will Ride the Roller Coaster. He has wanted to ride a roller coaster for a long time, but being 4, he has not quite got there yet. And so this one's about a pigeon that's going to be riding a roller coaster, and we've had a lot of fun with this as well. And this one even has a pull-out page, which they don't normally, but that was a lot of fun. Speaking of good rhyming books, I do love me some Dr. Seuss. This one is Oh, the Places You'll Go, which is obviously a really old book. One of the ones, Dr. Seuss ones, we don't own, and I always just love his illustrations, his rhyming. They're fun books. One of my favorite picture books is Nobody Likes a Goblin. This one is a fun little story about a goblin. I mean, like the illustrations, we gotta zoom in here. First of all, who knew goblins were so cute? That's pretty cute. So this is about a goblin who lives in a cave, and people come and take everything away, including his skeleton, who is his friend, and he goes on search for his friend. It's a pretty cute little story. Love the illustrations as well. Then my daughter loves the Spiderwick Chronicles, so she got the Arthur Spiderwick's Field Guide to the Fantastical World Around You. I actually haven't really looked at this at all. This has some letters. Oh, like a little bit about the different characters, the pixies. Oh, they're cute. Fields and forests. I feel like the Spiderwick Chronicles is a not very often talked about series, but if your kids like, old school, if your kids like Harry Potter and that kind of thing, I think they would like the Spiderwick Chronicles. We listened to the stories years ago. Like, I think they're even for younger kids than Harry Potter in general. Yeah, this is a really cool book. I think most of these last ones here are like the nature ones that I was talking about. So we got Mossy by Jan Brett. Now, Jan Brett, my favorite thing about her, honestly, is her illustrations that she has going on around her illustration. Like, there's always like a sub-story or more details above, like, all around the illustration. This one's beetles. I'm not really a huge beetle person, but they look amazing. I like that. So we read this story. Then one of my favorite nature series is by Diana Hutz Aston, and this one is A Shell is Cozy. This one is a new book. First of all, look at those end papers. The illustrator is Sylvia Long, and her illustrations are amazing. We love Butterfly is Patient, Nests Are Noisy, like the whole series. Like, I mean, the illustrations have a lot to do with it. What I really like too is like, you can just read kind of the bigger font to your younger kids, or you can break it down and really get into some more of the details with some of the older ones. I love that. I love that things are labeled so you can tell that these are actually specific kinds of shells. So when I was reading it to the younger kids, I was just reading the top, but then the older kids get to read more details. Look at those colors. Fabulous. If you have not checked out Diana Hutz Aston's books yet, please do. They're gorgeous and really fun. This one is a walk through nature. This is a peek through book. So we've got some, I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see those holes there that peek through to the next page, and some more information. So this is another thing where you can like read just the bigger text, or you can really break down and get more in depth with older kids. We've got the trees cut out here. This, not all of the books have we read yet. This is one we have not read, so I need to put this out so that we can read it. I usually strew a few books on the coffee table and see what gets picked up, and I have not done that with this one yet. Now we've got The Leaf Detective, How Margaret Lohman Uncovered Secrets in the Rainforest. There we go. This is another one we haven't read. Right off the bat, to me, this is like a lot of words on a page. Personally, I'm the kind of person that likes picture books to have fewer words generally, but this does look pretty cool. Oh, well, usually we get the hardcover version of this. I didn't actually even realize it was stuck between two books, so we do have A Butterfly is Patient as well, which then you don't get the nice end pages when you have the soft cover. But just to show you, like, this book is beautiful. I was gonna say spectacular, but it actually says that right on the page. So definitely check out her books. They're so great. This one is Rewilding, Bringing Wildlife Back to Where It Belongs. So these last few we have not looked at yet. Oh, cool, end papers as well. So here it's What is Rewilding? So this is different animals that they've tried to rewild, I guess. Save from extinction, scavengers, the toad, life inside the fence, what is an ecosystem, swimming against the current. So I think this is definitely something that my older kids would actually really like to go through. And this cover is embossed. Little details, but I love those little details. Okay, and I love poetry, so I got a book of nature poetry, and there's lots of photographs with different poems. This looks really cool. We haven't been doing poetry tea time during the summer, but I kind of think that we should be, because I should be doing this. This one is 1001 Bees. Yikes. And it's just information about bees. And information about beekeepers. Ooh, the hive. This looks pretty cool. And then like, there's random facts here. A bee can fly 80 kilometers in a day. And other things, like a marsh is a wetland area where lots of rushes and grasses grow. It is a popular place for birds to live. So this book looks really cool. And then the last book is more Robert Munsch. I got Much More Munch. So this has 5 books. We Share Everything, Playhouse, Up Up Down, Makeup Miss, and Aaron's Hair. And I actually got this because we used to own We Share Everything and Up Up Down in board book, but they got so well used I had to get rid of them. But I learned by taking this out that some of the words are changed. So We Share Everything is about sharing things in kindergarten, but in the board book it's about sharing things in daycare. And Up Up Down apparently has more words in here than it has in the board book, which makes sense, but after you read something a certain way, you get used to that. So this one is We Share Everything, and it's about Amanda and Jeremiah who don't want to share. And I love the illustrations. I'm assuming that, yeah, these are illustrations actually by multiple people, but Michael Marchenko, I don't know how to say his name. He's the main illustrator for Robert Munch, and his illustrations are always so great. So this is We Share Everything. This one is Aaron's Hair. I don't think I've ever read this one. Up, Up, Down. This is a really good one for kids because it shows the ups and the fall down, and then they love the ow, ouch, ow, ouch, ow, ouch, because we have read this story many a times. So I love his visual indicators for the text. I've got Makeup Mess. And Playhouse. I don't know this one either. Oh, and then there's a couple poems. Like 7-ish poems here yet. I didn't know he wrote poetry. That's cool. So there was that. And that is our entire library haul. My battery's about to die, so let me know if there's something here that looks good to you or what you've gotten from the library recently. Thanks for being here, guys.